Hey, what's up, everyone? Tonight we're going to be ranking 6 more horror movies before Halloween. So tonight we have The Thing, A Quiet Place, The Descent, Terrifier 3, Insidious, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Our first movie we're going to talk about is a classic, The Thing. Directed by John Carpenter, this movie is pretty dang awesome. It's some of the best special effects I've seen as Kurt Russell. It's about a alien that lands that shapeshifts and can morph into anyone or anything around it. And it's got some of the coolest creepy body horror special effects. Someone's severed head getting cut off and sprouting little legs and crawling away. Really good special effects. I wasn't completely blown away by the movie. I've seen it before, but I just remember thinking effects are great, but I wasn't really all that blown away by the story. But The Thing, I'm going to give a B tier to the movie. This is from S, A, B, C, D, and then F tier at the lowest. But I'm going to put it at a solid B in tiers of all my favorite movies. Next movie we have is A Quiet Place. I've seen Quiet Place Part 2, but I have never seen Quiet Place Part 1. Directed by John Krasinski, who's an actor I really like, of course, from The Office, and he does a lot of action movies. But A Quiet Place is one of the tensest movies I've ever seen, and part of that could come from having a family, kids, wife, myself. But the way they build a mythos for the world of The Quiet Place is really fascinating. You really get a glimpse of how to survive this scenario where this creature can hear sounds from a mile away and will just come sprinting to you and kill you if it hears sounds. So the Earth is taken over by these aliens, cut everyone down that makes sounds, really tense. Emily Blunt, who is John Krasinski's wife, I believe, gives birth during the movie, and then while she's giving birth, stepping on a nail and all this stuff, and she has to be quiet throughout the whole thing. Really tense, really awesome movie. I liked Quiet Place a lot. It's up there for one of my favorite horror movies for sure. I'm going to give the Quiet Place a solid A tier. Now the next one I'd heard amazing things about, it's The Descent. The Descent plays off a lot of my personal fears and irks. I'm a little bit claustrophobic. I love rock climbing. I do not like caving. Caving freaks me out. And the funny thing is that I've been on a kick listening to caving horror stories lately where people get trapped like Nutty Putty. They get trapped for over 24 hours, upside down, unable to move. And most of the time they die in these scenarios. But The Descent takes that in a really weird direction where this group of ladies go into a cave, and it's really tense for the first half of the movie. I was pretty unnerved by it. There's scenes where they're crawling and panicking through small tunnels, and they start collapsing above them. Really freaky stuff. The movie gets really goofy to me halfway through the movie, though. When you discover what's lurking down there, I love it when they're being stalked by stuff, and they don't know what it is. There's things in the darkness down there with them. Only one of them sees it. It's really, really good. However, once you discover what the creatures are, and you discover what chumps they are, it really does lose a lot of its effect, and it becomes a weird action movie. The ladies all start thrashing these things two at a time, they're getting ganged up on, and they're still able to take these creatures, little troglodyte goblin creatures under the ground. They're able to take them on two at a time. These untrained people are just slaughtering these things. And so it got kind of goofy for me. I can't give The Descent too high. I don't really want to see it again. It's got good bloody effects and stuff. I was pretty ugh, through some of it. But again, the gore stuff doesn't really sell me that much. The Descent, I feel I can only give a C tier. I want to give it higher because the first half of the movie had me so tense, but it really was just crawling through caves and wondering what's in the darkness with them. And the second you learn what it is, you're ugh, these things kind of suck. Descent, C tier. And then I got to see Terrifier 3 in theaters. I went by myself after hanging out with some friends, and man, I've recently come to like the Terrifier series. I saw Terrifier 1 and 2 recently. 2 I thought was really great. I love the angelic good versus evil stuff. It's actually good storytelling. It's really hard to watch because of the violence. They're extremely violent. So if you haven't seen Terrifier movies, know what you're in for. Crazy violence, most I've ever seen. I've seen the Saw movies. I thought all the Terrifier movies were grosser, but they're really good. So Terrifier 3, I actually think I liked more than the second, and I didn't think I would from what I heard from a couple spoilers I heard about violence towards kids and stuff like that, which I'm not a fan of. I've seen before in a lot of movies, but it always detracts from the experience for me to see a kid get mangled. The It movie, the more recent It movie, Pennywise bites Georgie's arm off, and he's crawling around, like bleeding and dying. And that part was more disturbing to me than anything that happens in Terrifier 3. And Art does kill kids, or spoiler, Art does kill kids in Terrifier 3. But you don't really see him do it, and they tend to be insta-kills too, off screen. You just kind of see the mangled remains and stuff like that. But it amps up the good versus evil, angel versus demon thing to a crazy amount. I loved it. If you guys are Christians in the audience too, I was a Christian, didn't offend me at all. None of these movies offended me. I thought they were all pretty awesome. But Terrifier 3, it is legitimately an inspiring movie, watching Terrifier 3. I didn't think I'd be saying that, but I walked out feeling really good, in spite of how gross and bloody and violent it was. So Terrifier 3 I'm giving a high A. Above Terrifier 2, but I still can't give it an S just because the gore and the violence just... It makes me less inclined to watch it again. Although I know I will see Terrifier 3 again because it was really good. I'm just less inclined to watch it because it's such a hard watch with all the blood and mangling of bodies and cruelty. It's hard to watch. Good movie though. Then I returned back to a classic, not really classic, but a classic for me when I started to really dig into horror movies was the first Insidious. So Insidious follows like a story about astral projection and a child who doesn't know that he thinks he's dreaming, but he's actually astral projecting to other places in this kind of dream world. Eventually he loses his body and he can't get back to it. So his dad goes to find him because he finds out that his family is like inclined to astral project. The movie was cool. I remember it being scarier. One thing that kind of soured it for me though about Insidious is that it's really, really aggressive on the jump scares. You get pretty desensitized to jump scares in this movie pretty quick. I realized halfway through that it kind of is a one-trick thing. Creepy dude, creepy people appearing at weird times, and then jump scare, like really sharp music everywhere. It lost its effect pretty quick for me watching it again. I'd kind of forgotten some of how it went. That being said, I still like the movie. It's got charm, Tiptoes Through the Tulips, Tiny Tim, and all that fun stuff. I'm giving Insidious a B. It's still good. It's not my favorite, but it's good. And then for the final movie that I saw, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's not a good movie. It's not good, but I was laughing almost the entire time. And I suspect that's intentional due to how serious everyone was being about getting mauled and killed by Winnie the Pooh. It's hard to take it seriously. And that's kind of what makes it so charming and funny. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Just to kind of spoil the very beginning, the intro was my favorite part with telling the story of what happened in the 100-acre woods after Christopher Robin left to go to college. Apparently, Winnie the Pooh and his friends can't fend for themselves or get food, I guess. And so they turn to cannibalism, starting with Eeyore. I guess because he's depressing, so the beginning, like, visual storybook part, they made a little gravestone for him with a cross on it, and they hung his little Eeyore tail on it. I was laughing throughout most of this movie. The kills are not very good. They're like, there's a scene where Piglet's chasing someone through a pool with a sledgehammer, and it's one of the goofiest things I've ever seen. It's really bad, but I was still laughing. That's kind of the moral of this movie, is it was really bad, but I was laughing, so I can't score it too low because I ended up laughing and having fun with it. There is a good kill scene where Winnie the Pooh, they subdue this woman, Piglet and Winnie the Pooh. She's tied up on the ground, and headlights go on, and Winnie the Pooh is behind the wheels of like a car. He drives it slowly up to her head and just smashes her head. It's really funny. It's really bad, especially at the end. It gets really stupid with like who has the gun, why aren't they shooting them? The costumes are pretty bad for Winnie the Pooh, and everyone is just like a dude in a mask, basically. I heard the second one gets better. I might see it someday. But Winnie the Pooh Blood Honey, I want to give it a D, but I can't because it made me laugh. I'm going to give Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey a C. Simply because I was laughing and having fun with it. If I wasn't having fun, it'd be a definite D or an F. Not a good movie. I don't really recommend it unless you have a sense of humor like me and think that people taking something really dumb, really serious is funny. And that's how it is, folks. I got my movies here. I'm going to go for 6 more. Leave your suggestions in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought of these movies too. If you've seen Terrifier 3 in theaters already. If you like Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, let me know. I want to hear about it. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Hope you guys all have a good night. And keep on watching horror movies.